Hi everyone, welcome to the second edition of this week's educational video. Again, thank you for all the positive feedback and for the questions off part one, which people have asked with regards to their own situation and their own will planning. As I stressed, Charlotte at Oakwood Solicitors is more than happy to take any phone calls or emails with regards to specific questions you've got. I appreciate you understand these videos have to be relatively generic, but once you want to dig in a little bit deeper with regards to your own situation, Charlotte's more than happy to field those. So send those back across in the email channel that we give you across to Stephen Morris in our office. Those will be filtered across to Charlotte and we'll set all of that up on your behalf. There's no cost for this, so again, I hope you're just finding this useful. So part two now, of course, is moving on from wills and touching on powers of attorney. And as you can see on screen, this is something which I think people often appear to be somewhat reluctant to do, and I think it's often what stage you are in your life and equally the associated costs. So for me, I come across, and I know it'll be the same for Emma and Alan and Belina, come across the following logic that people tend to say back to us. First and foremost, it can be about not feeling old enough. So powers of attorney are a lot to do, as Charlotte will explain, with loss of capacity. And I guess all being well, he says, touch wood, that we effectively are going to have a long and healthy life. And therefore, the idea that we'd lose capacity at a younger age is something which is kind of dismissed. A bit like death. None of us really want to think about it, and therefore let's push it under the carpet and not worry about it. But in actual fact, and following on from my video about my own health experience, if in my scenario, when I had my hole in my heart and my version of my stroke that I suffered from, if I'd have lost mental capacity, who would have been able to make decisions on my behalf? And of course, without a power of attorney, the answer would be nobody. Now, at 39 years old when it happened, I wouldn't say that's that old. So you can lose mental capacity, of course, through a road traffic accident, a fall in the garden. It doesn't have to be old age, dementia, Alzheimer's, and so on, the traditional route that people tend to put this into a box with. So just be very wary of that, and therefore that tends to lead on to the second sometimes objection we hear, which is about cost. These can be much more expensive than a standard mirror will to put in place, and therefore we've backed off this. Do we really need to spend that level of money? And again, if you look at some of the things we spend money on in our lives and flitter away and don't really give it a second thought, getting your affairs in order, I would suggest, is pretty prudent. So let's use this question answer session again with Charlotte on screen for us to ask some generic questions. Please don't get frustrated at home thinking, but that doesn't answer the exact question I've got. That's what we welcome. Send that in. We'll get Charlotte to answer for you in a bespoke manner. But just look at the general premise of what Charlotte's saying, and then I think that will be very useful. The key thing, I guess, is the paperwork that comes with it. And again, this can often be relatively scary for people, mountains and mountains of sheets to fill in. And without taking professional advice, do you know what you're doing? And again, I'm at pains to stress, from a Yorkshireman, born and bred, and a pound's a pound, and we grew up absolutely having that drilled into us, that you value every single penny, and that's rightly so. None of us want to be paying excessive costs. None of us want to be ripped off. We want to know what we're doing is right, and of course we want to know that it will fulfill what we want it to achieve. So I guess taking advice here is a logical thing to do. So without further ado, let's get straight in. Let's get Charlotte answering some of these questions again. So here's question number one. So on screen now, Charlotte, if you could pick up this first question, please, and give us your thoughts. So when it comes to putting a power of attorney in place, Charlotte, can you remind everyone the general reasons why this is as important as making a will? What are the main uses of a power of attorney? What are the different kinds of powers of attorney? Because again, this is often asked of us, and anything else you think is relevant.
Yes, Rob. Now, there's often some confusion about wills and powers of attorney. So everybody automatically thinks, oh, I've got a will and that's fine. But just to take us back a step, a will takes into account what happens to your assets when you've passed away. A power of attorney allows a third party to deal with your assets during your lifetime. So as you can see, the importance of both documents are equal, but they have very different functions. So a lasting power of attorney is a document whereby the client can choose who they trust and who will be best suited to manage their financial and property affairs as their attorneys. So the power of attorney would come into being when the client is unable to deal with matters themselves, and this could be whether they are physically or mentally incapacitated. Now, it could be on a permanent basis, or it could be on a temporary basis due to being unconscious, or due to being hospitalised or self-isolation in circumstances like this. And the lasting power of attorney allows the attorneys then to step into the shoes of the client and deal with their property and financial affairs. In addition, there's a second power of attorney for the client to appoint attorneys to deal with their health and welfare matters. So this is very different to the property and financial affairs in that this only becomes workable once the client is incapacitated, mentally incapacitated, so they can't make any decisions for themselves. And the importance of this document is that it allows the attorneys to make decisions with the medical professionals as to whether the client is to receive life-sustaining treatment, whether they're to receive any specific type of medication, or it could be whether they're to have surgery. And it also covers the client's wishes, if the attorney is aware of them, if they're going to stop at home and receive a care package at home, or whether they're to go into a residential care setting. So they're very, very different documents, but your attorneys are still required to be trusted people who will carry out your wishes. Historically, attorneys were appointed under a document called an enduring power of attorney. Now, this was a very simple document which covered just property and financial affairs only. Now, since the 1st of October 2007, lasting powers of attorney replaced the enduring powers of attorney. That does not mean that current enduring powers of attorney are invalid. They are very much valid and can very much be used if need be. But what we advise our clients is to review these documents, much as you would review your will, because from 2007 to 2020, it's a long time. So it is a very good idea to check that you still know who your attorneys are, because some people don't, that they are still close by, that you're still in contact with them, and technically that the document meets your requirements once again. Now, if the document is fine and you are happy with it, then it will just be put away until it's required to be used. It doesn't need updating. But you may need to consider, do I need a lasting power of attorney for my health and welfare? Because enduring powers of attorney don't cover health and welfare matters. Now, if your enduring power of attorney is valid, then it can be used and it doesn't need to be registered. One of the requirements of a lasting power of attorney before it can be used is to be registered with the Office of the Public Guardian. So there's a big difference here between the two. One offers the protection straight away with the Office of the Public Guardian knowing of its existence and is able to investigate if there are any irregularities undertaken by the attorney. The enduring power of attorney, however, there could be millions used every day, but we don't know their existence because they are only required to be registered once you, the donor, the client, is becoming or has become mentally incapacitated. So the protection only comes into being when you don't have capacity. So the protection is there, but not during the whole lifespan of the power of attorney. But it is the personal choice of each client if they want to keep their enduring power of attorney. They've probably paid for it, so yes, keep it if it still meets the requirements, or we will discuss with you whether you want to make a new power of attorney for your property and financial affairs, or you just want to make a new power of attorney for your health and welfare matters. It's a personal choice for the client and we will support them each step of the way and provide guidance.
Thanks, Charlotte. Great. I think you covered a few different things there, which hopefully again has reassured people that they've understood it correctly, or of course it's given them further things to think about. Just to finish this video off, Charlotte, and following on from earlier this week's conversation about wills, Can I just ask as well, on both scenarios, how easy is it to both action, amend, make changes, put in place a power of attorney or a will for that matter during these isolation period, the COVID-19 period, where people are struggling to understand what they can and can't do, and of course that advice changes. So how easy is it to actually implement these changes?
Yes, this is certainly a very, very testing time for all of us. The current COVID-19 restrictions has led all businesses, our own and obviously yours included, to change our usual business practices. For example, taking instructions from clients for either a will or a power of attorney has not prevented us from working. It's just made us think outside the box, and it's definitely keeping us on our toes. So we are providing our clients with a business as usual type service as far as we can go in line with the current government restrictions. So instead of meeting our clients face to face, which we have always traditionally done, we are now speaking to our clients on the telephone. We are sending out questionnaires to our clients by email or by post. And in certain circumstances, we're video calling. So we're trying to work with our clients who are wanting to put their wills and powers of attorney in place, but we're thinking outside the box, as I've said before. When we're finalising matters, so when we're preparing for clients to sign their wills and powers of attorney, which we would usually supervise in a face-to-face office setting, we are again providing our clients with detailed guidance, the use of lots of post-it notes. So post-it note sales are increasing during this time because I am using a heck of a lot, and it's appearing that our clients are accepting this guidance. It's successful because we are getting wills signed, we are getting powers of attorney signed and finalised so that we can actually proceed on to the next level. Some clients are obviously worried. They're thinking, have we done it right? Have we not done it right? And to put our clients' minds at rest, we are offering a free follow-up meeting once the restrictions have been lifted so that we can review any documents that they've got concerns about, so that we can re-sign wills if they're not happy that they've done it right. Because the last thing that we want is our clients to worry and to be unduly distressed at a time when it's already uncertain what's happening. So we will offer our clients peace of mind that we will ease any fears that they have.
Thanks, Charlotte. Thanks so much for your input on this. Really appreciated. Thank you everyone for listening again. I hope that was again just a useful follow-up. We're conscious that for the last week we haven't given too much more information with regards to specific fund management, market updates. That's coming next week. So again, for those people really enjoying the element of what's my fund managers doing, why is market volatility moving up and down on a daily basis continually, where's the certainty coming from, we're going back to that theme again, so please don't think we've gone off that. And just a point now for next Tuesday, we are doing a really good webinar session that Emma's going to host with regards to a company called Elephant and Child, and this is really going to be geared towards either yourself, if it's relevant to that, or people that you know who are looking to thrive for their business during this period. Now that all sounds a bit naff, doesn't it? All sounds a bit borderline cheesy in terms of everybody of course wants to thrive when we're in a downtime, and how easy is that to do? I guess what we're conscious of is the sessions about using the Elephant and Child experts who are going to look at the principles we should all follow in driving your business forward, looking and planning for opportunity, understanding the pressures that people are under at this time, but how do you see that chink of light and how do you plan for the 6 months, 12 months forward? So specifically aimed at people who are running their own company or a decision-making level within that company. I think you'll get huge value out of it. It's only half an hour. And please let us know if you want to attend. We're going to be sending links out to it as well. There'll be a link below this that you can equally register should you wish to do so. And equally, like we said, it's open to, we've been asked on numerous occasions now, can we forward your videos to people we know? Of course you can. And they can equally ask questions. So we are trying to do our best now to be as open and as available as possible. We're putting a lot of time into this, so absolutely, if that helps other people, by all means, put that across us. So all the very best for now. Thanks again for your input, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.